Hey guys, it's me again. I just want to briefly talk about the fig tree generation. And we're talking about that passage in Matthew where Jesus refers to a particular generation who he says will not pass away until all these things happen, like in the Great Tribulation. And, he's talking about, a certain generation. And when he refers to the fig tree, the common interpretation, the general interpretation is that it's referring to Israel, and specifically when it was reborn. Now, Israel got reborn as a nation in 1948. So when Jesus was talking about the generation who sees that fig tree, blossom, and that generation will not pass away until before these things happen in the Great Tribulation. So that generation includes us. Every single person who is alive today is part of that generation. Any person that was born after the rebirth of Israel in 1948 is part of that generation. Now, there's also this passage in Psalm 90, verse 10, which talks about a generation being 70 to 80 years. Now, a lot of these Watchmen people have tried to fit that 80-year generation into the whole Israel rebirth thing, and basically saying that the generation only lasts for 80 years, so from 1948 to 2028. And the way they're calculating things, it's everything has to happen and fit within that 80-year period. So we're technically already past that. What I mean is that that the end of the 80 years, the Great Tribulation should have been over, and the 7-year tribulation would be over in 2028/2029. And with the 7-year tribulation, that means the rapture has had to have happened last year already, maybe even 2021. So the calculations may be a little off, and some people are saying the 70 to 80 years in Psalm 90 verse 10 is not really a hard number. It's more like just somewhere in the ballpark kind of thing. It could be 80 years, it could be 81, 82. But the thing of it is, there's some videos now going around on YouTube where they're making speculations on where or on when we should really start counting the generation. When did it actually begin? Did it begin in 1948 when Israel became a nation again? Or maybe it technically began in 1948 when something else happened, something about their constitution or laws. I'm not exactly sure what they're talking about. And some are even saying maybe it's 1967, during that war when they, I think, got Jerusalem or something like that. Forgive me, my history is kind of bad on that. So, but yeah, we have these people making speculations, and maybe the generation didn't really begin until, after 1967 or 1948. So why are they doing this? Well, I think it's two reasons. And there are only two reasons. Number one is because they're of little faith. That's really one of the main reasons. And it's sort of because they're so set in their interpretation of that 80-year generation that now they're trying to move the goalpost, so to speak, okay? Now, just so they can hang on to their faith. Because, if everything seemed to fit so perfectly and the rapture should have happened no later than last year, and now some people are kind of shaken in their faith, so they're trying to reconcile things inside, and the things they come up with, maybe the generation didn't actually start till 1967. But so if that's the case, that means we get an extra 20 years to wait for the rapture and still keep hoping. I completely disagree with that. I'm not saying that they're wrong necessarily. Well, I am saying that they're wrong. I'm not saying that they're wrong in the possible timing of the rapture. I mean, it could happen, anytime. But I think they're wrong in their calculation of when the generation started. I think the generation simply started when Israel got reborn. That's it. Now they're trying to analyze the blossoming of the leaves or whatever it is, or whatever term it is that was used in the Bible. So when did the leaves actually, blossom? I think it's just silly. Israel got reborn in 1948, and that the generation began in 1948. That's all there is to it. Now, you guys, I encourage you, don't get hung up on that whole 80-year thing. It was in Psalm. It may or may not be directly related to Israel. But yeah, but don't get hung up on that, okay? It's just, you know, there's no hard, solid biblical evidence that a generation, as it pertains to Israel, is actually 70 to 80 years, okay? Especially if you take that passage in its proper context, okay? So don't be discouraged. And I think one of these watchmen or some of these watchmen people are trying to speculate, a new starting point for the generation, just so we have more room to anticipate the rapture. Okay, and, we just have to trust the word of God. It'll happen soon. Don't try to fit that 80-year passage, into Israel's timeline, because yeah, you're just going to cause problems for yourself, and then you're going to come up with all these wild theories that are way out there. So just trust in the word of God. It's going to happen when it happens, and it's going to be soon. Why do I say it's soon? Because the birth pangs are here. This is what I've been saying all along. Jesus did not tell us to count the 80 years, none of that. All he told us was to look out for the signs, which are pestilences, wars, rumors of wars, earthquakes, famines, all these things that have been happening at intensifying rates over the past 2 or 3 years. It's just crazy, and they are not going away. And on top of that, all the crazy things happening in the Middle East, Israel specifically, the Temple Mount, and the people just primed to just get down on their knees, not for Jesus, but for a world leader that they want, created in their own image, aka the Antichrist. The people are ready for the Antichrist, the one world government. They're so conditioned to just accept anything. And then you also have Israel anticipating their Messiah. There's this guy that a lot of people are speculating could be the false prophet or the Antichrist himself. A lot of these strict Orthodox Jews are really going after this guy. Apparently, this guy is doing miracles and all that stuff. So everything is happening, guys. The third temple being ready to be built. So we're close. These are the signs, and we don't need to. Well, you can calculate numbers if you want. I'm not opposed to trying to figure it out through the stars. If you're gifted that way, if you can read the constellations, that's great. All the guys who've tried have failed so far, but keep trying. So yeah, and the other reason I just want to get to really quick are these fake watchmen. They try to move the goalpost because they want people to keep watching their channel, because if the 80-year generation has failed, that means there's no more need to watch their channel, right? But if they move the goalpost just a little bit, that means, hey, they got more good stuff coming, so keep watching. I'll keep giving you false hope. So that's my rant for today. Just don't be discouraged. We're still close. I've been saying it for a couple of years now, I think, or around there. I didn't really start watching until, early 2021, I believe. But I've been discouraged so many times over the past year and a half, but overall, I'm still very, very excited. I have not lost heart, and I will not lose heart, because I will trust in Jesus' words. He said, when we see these things begin to happen, look up, for our redemption is near. And these things are happening right now. So guys, just keep looking up. Put your faith in Jesus if you haven't yet. There's no time to lose. So yeah, until next time. Hopefully there's no next time. I keep saying that, but yeah, whatever. We'll all go up when that trumpet sounds.